Listen carefully. What I'm about to reveal will completely reframe every betrayal, every sabotage, every underhanded scheme they pulled against you. Stop what you're doing right now, because this message didn't find you by chance. You were led here with absolute precision. Something shifted in the unseen realm the moment you clicked on this, and what unfolds in the next few minutes will expose the greatest irony of your entire journey. Every person who tried to destroy you, every move designed to bury your potential, every whisper campaign meant to diminish your name, actually did something they never intended. They built your throne, and you're about to understand exactly how that happened. Before we go deeper, I need you to recognize something critical about this moment. You've been carrying a weight that doesn't belong to you anymore. The confusion about why certain people turned on you, the anger over injustices that seemed to win, the exhaustion from defending yourself against accusations that made no sense. All of that stops here, because what you're about to discover is not just validation, it's revelation. This is not motivation. This is recognition of a pattern that's been playing out in your life, whether you saw it or not. And once you see it clearly, you'll never move through the world the same way again. If something in your spirit just stirred, if you felt that subtle confirmation that this message is specifically for you, act on it immediately. Like this message right now as your agreement with what's unfolding. Subscribe so you stay connected to what comes next, because this is just the beginning of what needs to be revealed. Drop your city and country in the comments so we can see exactly where the aware ones are positioned across the earth right now. Your engagement is not just interaction, it's alignment. And for those supporting this work through the links provided, understand this clearly. You're not just giving, you're partnering with a movement of truth that refuses to stay silent. Now let's expose what really happened. You know exactly who I'm talking about. The faces just appeared in your mind without me needing to name them. The person who smiled in your presence while strategizing your downfall behind closed doors. The one who took your ideas and repackaged them as their own. The colleague who spread just enough doubt about your competence to poison the well before you even knew you were being targeted. The friend who violated your trust so casually it left you questioning if the entire relationship was ever real. These weren't mistakes. These were calculated moves designed with one purpose: to eliminate you from the equation. They saw something in you that threatened their position, their narrative, their fragile sense of control. What they pulled wasn't just competition, it was character assassination. They didn't just want to win, they wanted you erased. Some attacked your reputation by twisting private conversations into public weapons. Others sabotaged opportunities by planting seeds of doubt in the minds of decision-makers. A few went even darker, isolating you from support systems by playing both sides, telling you one thing while telling others something completely different. The manipulation was surgical, the betrayal was intimate. Because they knew you well enough to know exactly where to strike. They used your vulnerabilities as target practice and your kindness as proof of weakness. They counted on you breaking. They expected you to retaliate in ways that would justify their narrative about you. They wanted you to become bitter, loud, defensive, and desperate for vindication. But here's what they miscalculated entirely. They assumed your silence meant defeat. They mistook your restraint for inability. They confused your strategic withdrawal with surrender, while they were performing for an audience, celebrating what they thought was your elimination. Something else was taking place completely outside their awareness. You were being refined in a furnace they didn't even know existed. Every lie they told about you burned away the parts of you that still needed external validation. Every door they closed in your face redirected you toward paths they could never control. Every alliance they turned against you revealed who was never truly aligned with your purpose in the first place. They thought they were destroying you. They were actually reconstructing you into someone untouchable by their tactics. The dirtiest move they made was underestimating your capacity to transform pain into power. They broke trust, so you learned discernment that can now read intention beneath performance. They stole credit, so you developed a work ethic that doesn't need recognition to stay relentless. They isolated you, so you built an inner circle so selective that mediocrity can't penetrate it anymore. They attacked your character, so you became someone whose integrity speaks louder than any defense you could ever articulate. Every single weapon they formed didn't just fail. It backfired. It sharpened you. It positioned you. And now you're standing in a place they can't reach, holding influence they can't touch, operating with a clarity they'll never possess. That's not luck. That's consequence. There's a principle at work here that most people never recognize until they've lived it. Opposition is not obstruction, it's activation. Every time someone moves against you with malicious intent, they trigger a response in the unseen realm that accelerates what's already assigned to you. Think about it clearly. Who were you before they betrayed you? What did you tolerate before they abandoned you? How did you move before they tried to bury you? You were comfortable. You were accessible. You were still making room for people and situations that had already expired. You needed a disruption violent enough to force you into your next level, and they provided it. This is where it gets deeper. The people who hurt you were never the authors of your story. They were tools, unconscious instruments used to push you past thresholds you wouldn't have crossed on your own. You would have stayed loyal to people who were draining you. You would have remained in spaces that were too small for what's coming. You would have kept playing fair in arenas that reward ruthlessness. But their betrayal shattered your tolerance for misalignment. Their sabotage destroyed your ability to settle. Their cruelty made you so uncomfortable in old versions of yourself that transformation became non-negotiable. They meant it for harm, but the mechanism at work was always greater than their intention. Every test has a level of resistance designed to match the strength being developed. The harder they came at you, the more capacity you were being built to carry. The more public the attack, the more significant the platform being prepared. The deeper the betrayal, the higher the level of discernment being forged. This is not poetic language. This is pattern recognition. Look at anyone operating at the highest levels of influence, leadership, and impact. Ask them about their story. You'll find betrayal. You'll find sabotage. You'll find seasons where it looked like they were finished. But what separated them from those who stayed defeated is this. They recognized that warfare is confirmation of assignment. If you're not a threat, you're not attacked. If there's nothing in you worth stealing, no one schemes against you. Now, think about your own journey through this lens. Why did they work so hard to take you down? Because unconsciously, they recognized something in you that you hadn't fully recognized in yourself yet. They saw your potential before you owned it. They felt your threat level before you activated it. And their fear, dressed up as aggression, became the very force that pushed you into alignment with what you were always meant to become. You didn't just survive their attacks, you absorbed the energy of their resistance and converted it into fuel. That's not resilience. That's alchemy, and the evidence is undeniable. You're not the same person who entered that battle. You're sharper, you're wiser, you're positioned, and most importantly, you're untouchable by the same tactics that once destabilized you. Let's be clear about what undisputed means. It doesn't mean unchallenged. It means unshaken by challenge. It doesn't mean unopposed. It means unmoved by opposition. You've reached a level of internal authority where external chaos no longer determines your state. That's what makes you dangerous now. Not your aggression, your calm. Not your need to prove anything, your complete lack of need for validation. They spent so much energy trying to break you that they accidentally broke your attachment to everything that used to control you. Approval, acceptance, recognition, reputation. All of it became secondary to something far more powerful: your alignment with truth. You became the boss of your own narrative the moment you stopped defending yourself to people who were never going to believe you anyway. You stepped into undisputed authority when you realized that your integrity doesn't require an audience. You claimed your position when you started making decisions based on what's right for your path, not what's comfortable for people who want access without alignment. This shift is what separates the chosen from the crowd. Most people spend their entire lives performing for approval, adjusting their truth to fit other people's comfort, shrinking their vision to match someone else's limitations. But you were forced out of that prison, and now you move differently. Watch what happens when you operate from this place. Opportunities start appearing that aren't tied to networking or manipulation. Doors open that aren't connected to who you know. Resources locate you without begging or compromising. Why? Because when you're no longer trying to control outcomes, you stop blocking the flow of what's already assigned to you. When you're no longer trying to convince people of your value, you stop attracting those who need convincing. When you're no longer performing your worth, you stop engaging with audiences who were never meant to witness your next level anyway. This is the position of the undisputed. You don't compete, you create. You don't react, you respond. You don't defend, you demonstrate. Here's the part that will make everything click. The same people who tried to bury you are now watching from a distance they can't cross. They see your peace and it confuses them. They see your progress and it disturbs them. They see your refusal to engage with their chaos and it exposes their own instability. You didn't have to prove them wrong. Your life did it for you. And that's the most powerful form of vindication that exists. Not words, presence, not arguments, evidence, not defense, transformation. You became living proof that their worst couldn't touch your purpose, and now they have to sit with the reality that everything they did to stop you actually accelerated you. That's not revenge, that's consequence. And consequence is always more effective than retaliation. Now that you understand how you arrived here, the question becomes, what do you do with this authority? Because being undisputed is not the destination, it's the foundation. You didn't go through all of that just to arrive at a place of comfort. You went through it to become someone capable of carrying what's next. And what's next is always bigger than what was. The test is over. The promotion is active. But promotion in the real world doesn't look like applause. It looks like responsibility. It looks like people depending on you to remain steady when they're falling apart. It looks like decisions that affect more than just your life. This is where many people fail. They survive the attack, gain the wisdom, claim the position, and then waste it on proving points to people who don't matter. Don't fall into that trap. You are not here to make your enemies feel stupid. You are here to build something so significant that their opinions become irrelevant background noise. Your focus from this point forward cannot be on who wronged you. It must be on who's depending on you to rise. Because there are people watching your journey who are still in the valley you just walked out of. They need to see that survival is possible. They need to see that betrayal doesn't have to make you bitter. They need to see that you can be powerful without being cruel. Steward this position with wisdom. Guard your peace like it's currency because it is. Protect your energy like it's sacred because it is. Stay selective about who gets proximity to you because access is influence, and influence shapes trajectory. Don't let guilt make you accessible to people who haven't earned it. Don't let loneliness make you compromise with connections that feel familiar but are misaligned. You are no longer in a season of gathering everyone. You are in a season of gathering the right ones. And the right ones will recognize you without you needing to perform. They will honor you without you needing to demand it. They will align with you because they operate at the same frequency, not because they need something from you. Use your voice differently now. Speak less to prove and more to empower. Share your story not as a weapon against those who hurt you, but as a map for those who are lost in the same terrain you escaped. Build systems that outlive your presence. Create opportunities that multiply beyond your involvement. Invest in people who remind you why you survived in the first place. This is what it means to move as the undisputed boss. You're not interested in titles. You're interested in legacy. You're not chasing influence. You're establishing infrastructure. You're not trying to be seen. You're ensuring that what you built continues long after you're gone. That's the position you now occupy. Walk in it with intention. Everything they did to stop you became the exact reason you're unstoppable now. Every dirty move they pulled built the foundation you're standing on. Every lie they told forced you to define your truth. Every door they closed redirected you to paths they'll never access. You are no longer who you were when this battle started. You are refined, repositioned, and remarkably clear about who you are and what you're here to do. The undisputed position is not given, it's forged, and you've been through the fire. From this moment forward, move differently, speak differently, choose differently. You've earned the right to be selective, protective, and intentional about everything that touches your life. Don't waste this hard-won clarity trying to convince people who are still operating from the mindset that almost destroyed you. Let your peace be the proof. Let your growth be the evidence. Let your life be the statement. If this message resonated, drop your agreement in the comments. Subscribe to stay connected to what unfolds next. And remember this always. They tried to bury you, but they forgot you were a seed. Now watch what grows.